is Banu. I'm your host for this program. I have strict instructions from my director to have a different introduction this time. But what can I say? We love having Harinam back. So I have brought Harinam back on our show to continue with the series that we started on. It's about enslavement. And I'm going to have Harinam tell you about that in just a moment before we move on. Thank you, Vita, Malik, and Lucas. Really appreciate you guys being there to help us out, take us on this journey. Harinam, the one thing I wanted to make sure that our viewers knew, so that if they want to get in touch with you, they know, because I know you travel a lot, you teach all over the world. Can they also have phone consultations?
Yeah, sure. I talk to people all over the world, and now we have things we didn't have years ago, Skype,
Right.
Messenger, all this WhatsApp. So I talk to people all over the world. I'm bilingual in Spanish too.
Wow, there you go. So they can just come through your website, because we don't want to give an open phone
Yeah,
number
yeah,
through
sure,
the
of course,
website.
yeah. You can write me. Sure, it's all on the website. I
So-
think even I have my email up here too. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that'll be at the end of the program today. You'll have Harinam's credits. But to continue from where we left off, we were talking about, now we're actually moving to the third form of enslavement.
Right, and as we're talking about, kind of like the essence of the book, the Cults
Right.
of Consciousness, the book that I wrote, the theme of the book is really presenting a clear road to liberation, and with the platform, that's why we're here. We're here to liberate, and that the reason that we haven't liberated yet is that we haven't freed ourselves from these vulnerabilities we have as a human being that tend to enslave us, keep us earthbound, and also make our life unmanageable. If we, it's the five things that really ultimately make our lives difficult to manage, let alone be liberated. So, as I mentioned, that in my path that I walk, but in others as well, I've read it in others as well, that we would call these five vulnerabilities, the five human weaknesses, or the five human enslavements. That and say enslavements because to be liberated, we'd have to kind of break ourselves through. And if you can imagine, if you had like shackles and you were in jail, you'd have one of them would be called anger, the other shackle on the other ankle would be called greed, and then pride, and then lust, and then the big one around the neck that we may not get that much into because it's so all-encompassing is attachment.
Right.
So these would be your five things that you'd have to free yourself to be free, completely free. And so we've talked about anger and we've talked about greed, and then the third one, and these are ones that every person can relate to, because you'd be hard pressed to convince me you've never felt any of these things, because we're people. So we feel anger, we feel greed at times. The important thing is to be able to isolate it and understand, oh, I'm feeling that right now. Okay, sometimes we're not conscious, and that's part of being conscious, is understanding where we're at. So this third one is actually quite a big one, and that's pride. And again, like we've done for the other ones, it's best to start off by defining what actually, in terms of personal and spiritual development, what actually is pride. And so, in those terms, pride, we would define pride as the ego's, again, your individualized selves. It has a tendency, and it's very tough to get off this. It keeps having this tendency on seeing itself as being at the center of the universe, that the world revolves around me.
Right.
Okay, and people deny it. People deny it, but everybody's kind of got this to an extent, and they get very forgetful that they are not the center of the universe, but they talk and they act like they are, as if. And even when people, now you see it on both ends. I mean, you see it, of course, in terms of, oh, I'm so important. I'm a famous football player. I'm the president of the United States. I'm so pretty. Okay, that's one way of seeing it. But actually, pride is also in the other way. My life sucks. I'm so terrible. Oh, I got so, yeah. And sometimes people come up to me And they go, oh, I got this problem. My boyfriend just left me. I lost all my money. And you know what? Usually my expense, people hate me for this. We're talking about what the role of a teacher is.
Right.
Usually when people say to me, oh, I lost all my money, I lost my job, oh, my boyfriend left me, you know what my usual response is? Yeah, we all got problems. And they're shocked. Oh, you're so cold, you're so cold. No, I'm living in reality.
Right.
Because we all are dealing with something.
So
But
it's
somehow you think you're so
yourself.
important that your problems are more important because they can't see that everybody's got something they're dealing with. But they're trying to convince you, oh,
That
poor
their
me,
problem.
poor me. But that's still being the center of the universe. Because they're kind of focused on their own little world, whether their own little world is fame and glory, or that I'm so poor. And some people even go to the extent of committing suicide to try to prove it. And some people think, but to me, that's a very self-centered thing, because most people do it for attention. Okay, I'm not going to get into a whole thing about, but in the end, people see themselves as being the center of everything,
world.
and that is actually holding them back. And so, and again, we go to why do people incline towards pride is because generally it feels good. It's pleasurable. We keep getting back. It's pleasurable because it's pleasurable for me. Like, for instance, if you're telling me, oh, you're so smart. How about this? I agree with you. Okay? That's pride. When people say to you, I agree with you. Oh, you're so handsome. Oh, you're so smart. Oh, here's a good job. We're going to pay you a lot of money for what you do. Oh, now my pride's feeling very good. Or how about this one? I love you. Oh, my God. Now, that really plays into it. Because if somebody tells you, I actually love you, oh, my God, now my pride is in ecstasy. Okay? Or the other side of it, pride doesn't like, I don't love you anymore. I don't agree with you. You're stupid.
That hurts the pride.
Now it hurts the pride. Okay? So, it's a very powerful, people are vulnerable, but they're vulnerable because they're attached to the pleasures of positive pride. And they want to feel they're important, and they want to feel they're noticed. Even if they're complaining, they want to feel that they're noticed. It's better than they don't exist. So this pride has this thing. Now, again, where is it helpful and where is it okay? Now, it's going to if liberation is your goal, and we're talking about this in terms of spiritual development, we know that part of spiritual development is you actually perceiving the world as being everything is interconnected and equally important. But if you kind of feel like you're the sun and everything else is the planets, then you're really not connected and you're not in reality. Because actually everybody is equally important. But you think somehow you're more important. Okay, so this on a spiritual level, that's going to be anti-liberation. That's going to keep you enslaved. And then, of course, the real danger on a day-to-day basis, not even on a liberation basis, is that the disease that often comes from unhealthy pride is jealousy and its cousin envy. And jealousy and envy is like acid to your bones. I can talk from personal experience. I would say, if you ask me what the most painful experience in my own personal life is, and I would say it was when I was feeling jealous and envious. Because it actually eats away at you. You can't get it. You can feel it eating away at your bones. Right. And we've all had that, and it is very enslaving. Now, the good side to pride, the helpful side, is that there's something called healthy pride. Like there was healthy greed, which I would call is healthy ambition. But it's good to have healthy pride, meaning that you think well of yourself. That I'm a good person. I'm not perfect, but I have talents. I have a lot to offer. I feel good about myself. I should feel good about myself. The world's a better place for having me here. That's healthy pride.
I have a question there.
Hmm?
I wanted to that was a very good point you brought up, because I wanted to point that out. It's also about self-identity at times, but when the whole world revolves around us, I know you like a challenge, so I'm actually asking for clarification here. So if I did not identify myself with the rest of the world, if I don't see myself first, am I, how do I put this? Am I diluting my pride? Is that good or bad? Because I am the center of my universe. For instance, if I look at a group photograph, I'm always going to look for me first and then see everyone else around. So is that bad? Is that not
Well,
healthy?
I'm not saying anything is bad or good.
Oh, but is it
I'm just saying
unhealthy?
it's like I'm looking at it. What would be the most desirable place to be if you're on a spiritual path of liberation?
Okay, got
Okay,
it,
and
got it.
so this is. It doesn't have to be this or that. It can be both. So a highly sophisticated person can have healthy pride and still see themselves as being an equal among all, and have healthy pride about their own life and what they bring to the table. So it's like that.
Got
It's
it.
not like it's never this black or white thing. But that's what people's tendency is.
That's okay. Keep going.
Okay. And so, like we were talking about with greed
Right.
and with anger, how do you deal with all of this? And it's difficult because people react very automatically. Yeah. People like are an automatic pilot. They just go right into the envy, jealousy mode. Okay?
Right.
Or like I'm so great mode, or I got big problems. You need to hear my problems. How do you overcome that? And so, again, I think the best way in general to do that is to develop the virtues that you would need to overcome these things. And these are things that we would call humility. And that humility is, well, if you're a spiritually oriented person, your go-to position is God is the doer. That's your go-to position. Like,
Right.
I'm not the doer, God's the doer.
God.
And by God's grace, I'm here to do whatever I was sent here to do. And so, if you have the orientation that you're actually, I share this, you talked about my classes, but I share this with people, but it's something people really don't understand. But any spiritual teacher would share the same thing with you, is that, and it's something that people don't really recognize, is that you were actually sent here. That you were actually consciously sent here to do something. And so, and we were all sent here to do something. And nobody has anything more important than anybody else. Everybody's important. Everybody was sent here for a reason. And it has to be that appreciation. And so that has to do with the virtue of humility. Okay, that God, I got a great life by grace of God, but that's why I'm here. That you can't put this false importance on yourself, and I think simplicity and humility, okay, and are these great virtues to and in day-to-day life. I'll just end last thing, because I'm always ending on like practical things people can do, and I can tell you from my own life and observing other people, really what I see as causing this problem with pride and jealousy and its cousins, envy and jealousy, is that people pay much too much attention in comparing themselves to other people. As soon as you start comparing yourself to other people, the tendency is to compare yourself unfavorably.
Right.
That's what people do. People or favorably, like it's either I'm better than everybody.
Then it becomes conceit. Yeah.
But it's the same thing. I mean,
Right,
it's just
right.
conceit and shame are like two sides of the same coin, because you're still comparing yourself to other people, and they're them and you're you. And once you start, this is how you get into this this pride thing, because pride is often started in motion when you start this process of comparing yourself to other people. And you have to, and you've been trained, because everybody's doing it, you have to kind of get yourself off of that and just be the best person that you can be, which is going to take all your energy.
That reminds me of something beautiful a friend of mine said. It's okay to be average. It's not okay to be mediocre. That's
Oh,
exactly what you
That's
just
exactly,
expressed. She had a longer explanation, I just put it, but the thought was beautiful, the way she was expressing that.
And stop trying, first of all, stop comparing yourself to other people. And stop trying to spend so much energy impressing other people. Nobody cares. Nobody, you think you're going to just impress somebody, you're smarty. They don't care. They got their own problems. Stop trying to impress. Stop trying to compare. Be the best person you can be, because that's what you were put here. And before we do this yoga set, which I think we still have time to do,
Yes.
I would just say that Banu said something very interesting about mediocrity. And I had a great, the greatest blessing in my life. I was blessed with a great spiritual teacher by grace of God. This man named Yogi Bhajan. He passed away 15 years ago, but he was a great, great, great teacher. And I asked him, and it was surprising because I was in my 20s, and I said, "Sir," because that's a real spiritual teacher. That's how you refer to him, sir. Sir, and I was always trying to just kind of, "Sir, what do you hate the most in this whole world?" And he, I'm expecting he's going to say war, disease,
Right.
this. And he didn't even hesitate. He said, "My son, the thing I hate most in this world is mediocrity."
Right.
And I totally understand that. And I would have to agree. I hate mediocrity.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
not making the most of what
That's
we
right.
have.
That's right. And that's the greatest crime there is.
Right.
It is. That's the greatest
You're
crime.
a criminal lawyer. You'd know
And
what's
it
a
is,
crime.
and that's not officially on the. But you know what? The truth is, without going there, you said, to me, that's actually why a lot of people are in jail, because they're mediocre. If they did live the life they were meant to be, their life wouldn't have fallen into this just trying to be satisfied area that caused them to make very poor decisions that landed up putting them into jail. Sometimes people are in jail because they're actually too naive, and they're taking the fall for other people. I mean, I've had a lot of experience. You see, people think it's just people just are in jail because they did something, but
Right.
actually it's because of flaws in their character. And some of them are even flaws like innocence. They're too innocent. They're too naive.
I knew someone
too
who ended
mediocre.
up in jail because they were too naive.
Oh, they're too mediocre.
Right.
Okay, if they were who they were meant to be, they weren't. But that's another subject for another day. But in short, this is the third human vulnerability, and that is that our pride holds us back from actually being connected to all, and having humility to merge into the infinity. And so that's the third human weakness, and it's a big one, and everybody's got it to one extent or other, has to face it, because it's just the ego's tendency to think it's all about me. No, it's not.
Right. There's a world out there.
No, it's not, but it doesn't matter if people talk about it philosophically. They'll say, "I know." No, you don't know, but there's nothing in your behavior that would indicate that, because you're talking as if you were, and you're acting as if you were, and almost everybody does it, and they're too prideful to admit it. So not
That
only
it's
doing
not
it,
about them.
their pride prevents them from even going, "You're right. I can't do it." They just can't get over
I'm
it.
sure there are techniques.
Yes,
that
and
you
now
can teach
this
us.
is okay. So we're gonna do a set here called the Kriya for Tolerance. Pretty easy set.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do this for a few minutes each, and it's normally you would do it longer.
Okay.
But we'll do it for a couple of minutes each. The first one, pretty easy. We'll just interlace our fingers, and I have to do very quickly because I forgot it last time. Om Namo
Yes.
Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. You know, you heard of speed dating. This is speed tuning in. No? The clock moves, right? Okay, so we interlace our fingers like this and put this right into your navel point, okay? So just follow. So inhale completely. And now exhale. Hold the breath out and push the hands into the navel. Hold the breath out. Exhale completely and push the hands in. And last time, inhale completely. Exhale completely. Push the hands in. Okay. Let the hands up. Now we're going to sit. Can you sit on your heels okay?
Yes.
Okay, and then I'm going to show you. This is a Kundalini yoga standard called Sat Kriya. I don't know if we did it before, but we're on the heels. We interlace our fingers. Put the index fingers together like so. And you're going to stretch up, just like so, okay? I'm going to get back in cross-legged because my knees are not good. And from the navel point, we're going to say Sat, and then release Nam. So with Sat, you're going to pull in, and Nam release. So it's Sat, Nam, 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 Sat,
Nam.
Sat, Nam, 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 Sat,
Nam.
Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat,
Nam.
Sat, Nam.
Nam.
Inhale. Stretch. And exhale, arms down. Now the next one's going to be a little challenging. Okay, we're going to put legs out front, hands behind. We'll only do this for maybe 45 seconds. Normally, again, we do it for 2 minutes, but I'm going to lean back and I'll lift my legs up with breath of fire. Very
Whoa.
rapid breathing. Wow, okay, you're ready. 1, 2, 3. Lean back and go. Very good. Now look at your toes. You're doing this very, very well. Doing great, Banu. 30 more seconds. I know you can do it. Very good. And she's a very good example. Very strong abdominals, which means she's been working on this for years. And you can see it. This is, I bet many of you doing this are having difficulty. Banu's practiced yoga many years. Her abs are very, very strong. Just 10 more seconds. Okay, inhale, hold, and exhale. Now legs down and arms behind you, just holding yourself up. Look up towards the ceiling and just start laughing.
That is laughter yoga.
Let it out. It can be funny, funny, funny. Okay, inhale. Exhale, come back into easy pose. We call this easy pose cross section. Make 2 fists, like so. And what we're going to do is we're going to inhale deep, and when we're inhaling, we're going to hold the breath as long as we can, and we're going to be throwing punches until we have to exhale. Okay? So inhale deep, and there you go. Keep punching hard until you feel you absolutely can't hold the breath in anymore, and then you'll exhale. Okay? Keep up, keep up. Keep up. Just watch what, really punch out. Not like this, like you're actually punching somebody. Boom, boom, straight out. Boom, boom. There you go. There, come on. Punch, punch, punch until you feel you have to exhale. And like the last exercise, you can see Banu has a lot of stamina in her breathing. That's years of doing pranayama. Okay, and keep going until you have to exhale. Okay, and I'll tell you to inhale now because we only have a couple of minutes. Exhale, but that's how you would do that. And now take your, hold your, and we're going to do this. We're going to inhale, push the chest out, exhale back, then inhale, shoulders up, exhale, shoulders down. So inhale, exhale, Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Inhale, flexing forward your chest, exhaling back, then inhaling, shoulders up, exhale, shoulders down. Keep going, keep going. Another 25 seconds. And inhale. And exhale. And we'll put our hands together and we'll just close this very short session out. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. Satnam Banu.
Satnam,
Another
Harinam.
very short set, but again, this set is called the Kriya for tolerance. And tolerance, again, something very much related to where you want to be a virtue that's kind of like the opposite of pride, in that you're able to accept and embrace everybody, even if they're coming from a different place than you are.
Since we do have the luxury of a couple of minutes this time, whoa, that feels good, but
Good.
yes.
You sweating again?
Yeah, no, this time I'm not sweating. I know I'm going to sleep with very painful abs, but
no,
it's a happy pain.
No, don't let her come in. She's a champ. Don't let her come into it.
Is there, I was curious, and I've been wanting to ask, in your book, do you have a certain section for each of these, what was the word again?
The human enslavement.
Enslavement.
No, I don't, and I don't even remember if I specifically mentioned. I have to admit, I'm not even sure I specifically mentioned, but it was at least implicitly mentioned, because really the whole tone of the book is actually how does a person live a fulfilling life,
Right.
ultimately to the point where there's the possibility for liberation in this lifetime. And so the book is mostly geared at what you need to do, rather than on a philosophy about why things are the way they are.
The reason I asked that, and I mean, your explanation is enough for me, but I'm sure there are people out there who want to know if they have if they feel, there are times when I feel each one of these enslavements, each one of these qualities, and like you said, it's good to know that I'm normal, so it's good we all have that. If I were to turn to a particular section, so right now, if I'm able to just go through the pages one at a time,
Right.
and I know that a book like this is a spiritual primer, would be a spiritual primer for me, so I'd be happy to read it, but I want to be able to apply it at some point. I'm sure as I read, will it start bringing
Well, the book,
back?
you'll see, unlike a lot of these kind of books that you see, this book actually is not particularly philosophical. It's more pragmatic, and it speaks a lot, because I think the path I walk on, which is the Khalsa path, not my Khalsa, and me, that's my last name. Well, we talked about that. but
Right.
Khalsa doesn't represent me. It happens to be my last name, but it doesn't represent me personally. But
Right.
the Khalsa path is equally predicated. I get into the book. It's equally predicated on what I would call spiritual technology, which has to do with the tools of experience, which include yoga and meditation. So half the path would be actually practicing the technology that would give you the experience of your own soul. That's half the path, which includes pranayama and all these things that you share with your audience.
Right.
The other half of the path has to do with character development, which is a whole nother thing, actually.
Right.
Because yoga doesn't build character except for self-discipline. It doesn't hurt character, but it's more experiential oriented.
Right.
But half this path has to do with what I would call character development, which has a lot to do with code of conduct, how you act in the world, how you conduct yourself, which is half this path. And so that's how I would address some of these things, is that how do you deal with overcoming any of these enslavements? My answer would always be the same. It's that you would have to have like a daily discipline that included some kind of spiritual technology that actually eventually gave you the experience of your own soul, okay? And at the same time, you would have to basically start running your life in a way that was congruent with your spiritual aspirations, which normally involves a code of conduct.
So it's not like I go through the potential solutions for the 5 enslavements and then my life is on cruise control. No, I have to keep my discipline and maintain it.
You have to have a daily discipline,
Right.
which normally
that's
includes
the key word.
practicing something, but also studying the teachings of the masters and things
Right.
like that. That has to do with spiritual technology and daily discipline that you yourself, I know, practice. And the other half would actually be consciously taking on a code of conduct where you're actually running your life in a way that supports where
What you
you
are
want to
studying,
go.
yeah.
So you have to live your daily life a certain way. So like, for instance, I don't take drugs, I don't drink, I don't think, because that could be distracting off of what my motivation, my goal is. It could be
Right.
distracting. And so there's a way to conduct yourself, and if you conduct yourself a certain way, you'll tend to develop the virtues that we've been talking about.
It's a shame this is only a 4-part series. We still have part 4. I wish you could stay longer in New York, Harinam. So
Me too.
I know
My
you love
favorite
this
place in the world, yeah.
Honestly, this place grows on you. So where are you now? You are in Mexico?
I'm living in Mexico, but I do travel around the world quite a bit.
And what was your last stop? Where was your last stop?
God, you know what? I almost don't remember. I think my last stop actually was in India
It was? When
Yeah.
was that?
a few months ago. But it's a blur. It's like, I'm in so many places, it's like actually blurred. And now I
Just
have to
too
go to
many,
Argentina and Chile. And
I remember you mentioned Argentina.
yeah, so no, it's in Toronto. And no, sometimes I forget I'm living in Mexico, but sometimes I wake up, I don't even know what country I'm in. That's
Vita, Lucas, and Malik, thank you so much. On behalf of my team, we'd like to thank Harinam Singh Khalsa. Whenever you're ready with the credits, please, oh, okay. That was a little bit of an audio malfunction. Vita, if you can get the credits up, and if we miss it for some reason, we'll fix that later, but you know where to get in touch with Harinam? KhalsaConsciousness.com.
KhalsaConsciousness.com.
That's your website. No, that was
Are we
fascinating.
good?
Yes.
Are we right into the last one now? It's 4:02.
Yes, it's
So
yes.
we should just go right
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah. We
Let me
want,
just get my,
yes.
I think I could probably go without even preparing. Oh,
You can keep it next to you, too.
next. The
Next.
next enslavement.
Next. Oh, so it's lost.
Yeah.
The next one is lost. Okay. It's fascinating, actually. I'm definitely interested now. I would like to read up more about this. So we started with anger, then greed, and pride, and now lust.
Yeah.
And all of these in one form or other. The last one is the most
attachment.
powerful, is attachment. So
Well,
we're
and
attached
it's its
to
own
any of
separate.
these.
It's its
an
own
entity.
separate thing because it's its own entity.
Right.
It's like.